everybody, I'm doing this VR, which is very new to me. I think it's my second one. It's a reply to Dragorsky and the Highly Sensitive Tarot. I watched the Highly Sensitive Tarot's video and it was about the Chariot card. Now, I am one for when I get a deck, I just freaking open it. I might look through it once, I shuffle it, and then I start reading with it and reading other people with it. And I have to be honest, I've never really read tarot in the way that probably should fundamentally learn the basics, but I was always put off by the tarot. I don't know, I think because the first tarot readers that I was introduced to were highly strung and, you know, it was their way and this is how things had to be done, and it really didn't feed my intuition or so it really put me off. And I've only really the last 6 months, when I had my house on the market, I had to pack away all my decks. And in doing this, it made me just stick with 2 decks. And I really formed a relationship with these decks. And what I do is, when I read the tarot, I read the guidebook, then I get intuitively what I get. So I wanted to go through, I pulled all my decks out, and my husband said, why do you need so many decks for? Which is so true. And this is the reason why I've started this channel, is to hopefully cull my decks, work out what decks work for me, and work deeper with specific decks, as opposed to bye, fling, you know, like I don't want to do that. So I don't want to keep doing that. So I'm really grateful and thankful for everybody that does these VRs. It's truly opened up my eyes to the power of learning and listening. I'm not a great listener, so really listening to these videos has really helped. Now I've changed my name because it looked very trolly before, so if you have blocked me, please check your block list because some videos I reply and I don't get a reply, so I hope that helps. But let's dig in to all my Chariot cards. It's going to be more than 7. I'm going to try and talk really fast. The first Chariot card that I have, this is a beautiful deck. It was a Kickstarter, and hopefully I won't be buying any more Kickstarters, but this is the Chariot card. So you've got this running waters, you know, you've got this stream, and the stream's going downhill, you know, it's either going to crash on the cliffs, the wind's blowing, the flow of the water is accelerated. So this is really about, with going with the guidebook, ambition, force, determination, and it can also be revenge, you know. And like water, if the energy is not utilized properly, it can be very destructive, or it can be very helpful. You know, it can maneuver a path that we once didn't think of. So, you know, whether you're going to swim upstream or go with the flow, that's the way I found this card. And looking at the coloring of this card, it's quite earthy. You know, it's so, to me, it's really about being grounded. And I've never really looked at cards, so I'm really thankful for that video. I've got to go back to the videos here, especially the Highly Sensitive Tarot, because the way she spoke, and I'll put the links in the videos. So you've got this mountain here, and you've already decided, you know, like probably an easier way, but it's really about fighting for what you believe in. So that's the tarot of Japanese poetry. I will put the links to all of the decks that I'm utilizing. Hopefully I'll do that in order for you. I apologize if I don't. Okay, then we have the Curious Creatures. A lot of people don't like this deck because they think it's funny with an animal on their head. So I feel like you look at this guy and he looks very proud. You know, he's very proud of himself. He's thinking, whoa, you know, as a bike, you balance. You know, you can't just be on one side because you'll have to balance up. So it's really about clear thinking, clear mind. Obviously, it's about movement because you really can't stop on a bike. You know, you have to keep going. So it's really about getting what you want and getting there. And again, we've got this white and black aspect of the Chariot, which I haven't really looked at until today when I pulled out all these cards. So it's really about, you know, like balancing the 2 sides, the positive and the negative, and really working through what's going to work for you, you know. So this is where I feel like, and perhaps you're going on a journey to somewhere new, you know, perhaps you're going towards something, you know, perhaps you've got a bright idea, but it's very proud, you know, he's very proud, very clean, very tidy, he's got everything that he needs, he's set off on his journey, there's peace with this. So that's how I read this card. Now, another thing about this cat thing, you'll notice one cat's got the tail up. So, you know, you can be I guess, sidetracked by certain aspects, and it's just reminding you of not to be, you know, really focus on what you need to do in order to get to your destination. So that's how I read that card. The next card, and I bought a lot of these decks just recently, and I know they're quite older decks, but the reason why I bought them was they're quite relatively cheap. So if you're into mass market decks, grab these. The only thing is I find these a bit confusing. So they do talk about the angels. It's Metatron's angel with this. So here you've got this guy, and again you've got this light and dark thing. You've also got this aspect here. You've got the new moon there. So it's really about showing hard work. I have read in guidebooks they've talked about this guy on a chariot, like he's come back and he's won. But this is really, again, about not letting people steer you off course, you know, light your own way. You know, this is really, it can mean work related and obviously transportation, but it's all about being in control here, you know. So this is where I really find this, but it was the light here, you know, it's a bit like celebrate what you've achieved, you know, like he's going, yoo-hoo, you know, like arm in the air. So that's what I get from this deck. You know, it's raised above challenges. You're up obviously higher off the ground, and you can see here the smoke, so you're going full steam ahead. It says here, rewards that come from hard work, successfully balancing many priorities at once, determination and willpower and public recognition. And then we move on to this deck. This would have to be another favorite deck of mine, the Pacific Northwest Tarot. Again, it's one that I got from Kickstarter. So this is beautiful. This is a grey whale. So it is a really nice deck, this one. And it's sort of like the grey whale is keep going, you know. It's like the pod's been swimming for days. It's been fighting against swells. But now it's got to a point where the ocean's working for them. You know, you're getting pulled along. So it's really about keep going. You know, you're going to get there. You're going to really find a place where it's going to be a lot easier for you. You know, that's where this is. And it's about being with people that are progressing you forward, not trying to pull you back. So that's where, and it's, to me, it's about also as well going in the deep end. You know, it's sort of like taking probably risks and pursuing through them, you know, like this is what this is. And it's also recognizing about, you know, like, so here's the grey whale here's, you know, got the pointy thing here. So he's steering it. You're in control. You're steering it forward. You know, you're on your own course. So that's the way I read that card. And it's quite funny. I bought this years ago, these tarots, and I pull them out every so often. So it's quite funny, but it is talking about movement, and you can see here, there's skid marks in here. So it's really about not losing sight, you know, like he's sort of like trying to cling on here, you know, fighting off what's not working for you. You know, this is what this is. And obviously it does talk about a large purchase, because it could be about a home, it could be about a car, but it's really about making sure that what you want is really what you need, you know, because you've got this coffin here and it's jutting out, but is it jutting out because there's something else in there that's preventing it going in, you know? So really looking at the finer details as well if you're purchasing something, you know, but this is what this feels for me. So moving on, I hope I'm doing this quick enough for you guys, because I know what it's like when you're watching videos. All right, and then we've got the Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. Now again, I only bought these a few months ago, and I know that they're old, but I really just saw them and I thought, wow, they're a really good price, and I've actually really enjoyed them. You know, I know that they're not that popular, but for me, I really like it. And again, we've got this dark and light aspect. You know, we've got this balance here of duality. You've got her here all relaxed, but again, you've got this beautiful light here. So it's really about, it's your moment to shine, you know, and you've got this red here, which is normally the red flag, but you've got this beautiful shine, this beautiful warmth about you. So it's really about stay centered, stay grounded, because you think of somebody who's very open, is in faith, you know, being present, being calm, being collected. So that's the way that I see this. And I do see this sort of like, be mindful again of not being pulled off course, you know, be mindful again that you're heading in the right direction that you wish to choose. So that's what free flowing, I guess, is the word that I'm looking for here. So that is the Guardian Angels Messages Tarot. Future self here. I did notice after watching another video about the Chariot that this gentleman spoke about the sparkles. I'm noticing a lot of these cards have got little sparkles or stars, and I just love the way he put it in words that it's about the magic and believing in the sparkles and they're coming to life. And then we've got again, this deck here is one that I just bought recently. It is a very old deck. I've got both the Doreen Virtue. I was gifted that one recently, and I purchased the new one just with Radley Valentine on it. So this is really about, in this card, you know, obviously willpower and whatnot, but it's really like a confirmation card here. Like she's got this here, the Metatron signia here as well, but it's really again about this balance, the dark and the light. It's got the unicorns here, so it's quite mystical. Not sure what this means here, this blanket here, you know, I'm not too sure. So if anyone can think of the significance of how this relates to this card, please let me know. But she's sort of like in shock a little bit, you know, she's got a hand on her chest, sort of like, you know, so it's a bit like she's proud of her achievement, but she's grounded. She's not in ego, you know, she's willing to be proud of it, but she's not willing to get engulfed by too much applause, you know. That's what I, you know, and she's sort of like, it's a gift that she's giving to herself, but she's definitely going forward because you can tell by the horse's mane sort of, you know, like movement here. So that's the way that I see this. And there's a lot with the stars. We often think of hopes and dreams and, you know, things like this. So, and a bit of luck as well, a bit of luck. But that's how I feel like this. I feel like it's a very powerful card, this one. I just feel like it's a very proud card. It just says on the bottom here, determination, self-control, career advancement, acknowledgement of success again. And again, we've got this deck, the Angel Tarot cards. Now, I bought this deck many years ago and then I gave it away and I've rebought it. So it's quite funny where life takes you. And the reason why I got rid of it initially was I found that when I was working intuitively, I found that a lot of these computer imaging was quite dark and I was trying to see things on the cards, but I've come back around again. It says down the bottom here, an important achievement, self-discipline and willpower. You can see there's a lot of bright light here, and you can see that there's something down here, you know, like you sort of clouded with all the steams here, you know. It's a big congratulation card. He's heading back, you know, like, and again, they're sort of trying to, for me, it looks like they're trying to flip you off, you know, like trying to take off, but you're in control here of these horses, you know, you're in control. You've got the reins here, you know, even though the horses may want to take you somewhere, you're still in control. That's where I feel like this is the self-discipline in this card. It is about moving forward, but I just feel like you're in control of this. Don't allow other people to persuade you off your path. That's what I get from the meaning of this card here. And then we have the Embroidered Forest Tarot. Now this one here, I mean, if you've seen my review of this, I'll put the link down below. I couldn't really work this out. It's a little critter here, you know, like, is he in a sea pod? I don't know. We'll have to work out. He's actually in a walnut shell.
Future self here, it is our ladybug in a walnut that's used for a chariot, and the acorns are the chariot's wheels. And the caterpillars are in this card to symbol change and transformation. There are no reins, so the card's about moving the mind, body and soul to a better place using willpower alone.
So we've got the caterpillars here, we've got the walnuts, so there's a bit of transformation happening here. So this is all about movement, you know, it's about moving the body, mind and soul. And then we've got the Good Tarot. Again, this card is one that I've just purchased. For me, it's such a shame that the numbers are so big on here, because I would actually use these as cards, as gifting cards, to be honest, because the imagery is so beautiful. Again, you've got this light and dark image here, and it's beautiful. Like, it's so gold, it's serene, it's just lovely. So it's like she's gone through a lot, you know. It's like she's hopping on this now and she's ready to really balance, work out, you know. To me, she's sort of like taking her time. That's the way I feel that she's on this journey. She's taking her time, but she's sort of gone on the horse right now. Like, so it's probably maybe a beginning of a trip, maybe the beginning of this journey, you know, like she's about to take off, but she's really working out the journey itself of where she wants to be aligned with, you know. And again, you've got the two columns there and everything's very symmetry, and she's right in the middle, so she's very balanced. And then we have the Muse Tarot. So the Muse Tarot here is, you can see all these horses, and to me they look wild, you know, like they definitely look like wild horses here. So this is what I feel, and it's really about the solar plexus. I feel like this is like the solar plexus, you know, like, so it's really about pushing through what she's created. You know, this is the way I sort of feel like this. I feel like, and she's in control, but she's in control mentally, you know, not physically. Like mentally she's able to steer the directions, many different directions. So maybe she's got multitasks happening at the moment, but she's steering through the journey herself, but by mentally, you know, not physically. So she's not utilizing her physicalities, she's utilizing her mental capacity. So she's got to be careful here that she keeps a balance, so she's mentally strong and mentally clear. So that's the way I read that one. Then we've got the Psychic Tarot. The Psychic Tarot, I loved how, again, in the videos that I watched, they spoke about the Psychic Tarot. This was a tarot deck that I used a lot. I mean, you can see it's quite banged up, but again, I didn't really take the time to really absorb each and every card, digest each and every card. I would just shuffle, read the book. So I've really enjoyed looking at my decks in this way, you know. But this is really someone who's pushing through, like someone who's in control, you know, or got rid of the other horse, you know, somebody who's able to be happy with themselves. They don't need to be happy about anybody else, you know. They're not taking anybody else on this journey, so they're going forward with balance and direction, and they are balanced because they've got the flag here, the flag sort of showing that you've triumphantly done something, you know. It's sort of like you tapped into your own power, you know. And you've got the blue here. The blue here for me really means communication. So it really means you've communicated to others and to yourself of what you really want. So that's what I've got with this one. You've got this beautiful yellow, the glow here of the sun. So, you know, she did speak about in her initial video, I think it was the Psyche one, I'm not too sure, but somebody spoke about this. Is this a sunset or is this a sunrise? So is it the beginning of the journey, or are you getting to the end of the journey? That's something that, you know, intuitively you'll have to read in with the card. And then we have the Light Seers Tarot. One card that I haven't used for this deck. I haven't used this for quite a while. And again, you've got the dark and night. And again, you haven't got this physical thing. You've got this mental thing, like he's really looking and he's knowing where he's going. And it's a bit like he's jumped on this carriage. It's a bit like perhaps he's left this for a while and now he's back into it. You know, he's back into getting to where he wants to go, you know, charging ahead, and now he's paying attention. To me, it's sort of like he's probably taken a break and he's jumped back on here and he's ready to get going again. That's where I get, and he's really going swiftly, you know. That's what I find with this. And he's doing it in an unconventional way, probably in a very independent way of something that is their focus, you know, their efforts. So it's something about what they've done. So that's the way I read this tarot. And again, I get it very swift. And again, I'm looking at the horses here. They're looking very intent, you know, they're looking forward. And again, you've got this red and blue. All right, so we keep going. This is my favorite deck. Oopsies. This is my favorite deck. I bought this one on Kickstarter, and this was one of the decks that when I had the house on the market, that one of the decks that I kept out. And this is what really propelled me forward to really looking deeper at tarot and really loving tarot for what it was, about the depth of the readings that you can get with so much more depth. And it only has a little white book, and I only recently found out what LWB stands for. So this is all about forward moving. Again, he's in full control here. You know, he's really in full control. Bit of a risk taker here, but you know, that's what I get here. So it's really about, you've got everything that you need. Even though there's risks, you've got the security of knowing how to get there. So that's the way that I feel this. It's going on an adventure. You know, again, you've got this house here, or you've got the units there, so it could be about moving, you know, forcibly moving, or you've been forcibly moved, but it's okay now, you feel comfortable with that decision. So that's the way I read this one. Now, I'm not a big fan of dogs that huff and puff and slobber, so this is quite interesting that we've got these two beastie dogs here, you know, like they've been on a long journey, you know, they've got their tongues sticking out, but yet you feel you haven't got a sweat here. You know, you're still doing this quite comfortably. Maybe you've taken a few stops, maybe you've, you know, like, but this is what you've worked on. And again, you've got this road here. Maybe this is representative of the ups and downs, and you're in alignment here. And again, you've got this beautiful yellow. So are you heading towards the sun, or is this the sun rising? So that's another question you have to ask yourself when you pull this card. And then we've got the Housewife Tarot. So look, she's got the risks, gain, choices, the tarot. So this is all on this card. So this is about, you have to, and I feel like with my daughter, she can't drive, and she's probably maybe the age of this lady here. So it's really about, you have to make choices. You have to learn something. You have to get in that car. You know, this is what this is. It's really about nothing ventured, nothing gained. You've really got to get in there and start going. You know, just don't sit back and watch other people. Don't be a passive person in this reading. You know, jump in that car and get going. You know, this is the way I read this card. You know, do it from passion and love. And then we've got the Wandering Star. Now, the Wandering Star, my version is from the Kickstarter version. I'm not too sure whether the card has changed. Oh, and you can see here, journey, success, progress. And again, you've got this balance. You know, everything's very balanced here. And again, it's very soft moving. For me, it's very gentle, you know. It's sort of like, you know where you're going, but I feel like I'm getting this very secretive. So it's like you're on this journey, but you perhaps haven't told anybody. You know, it could be an inward journey, you know, where you're growing in you know, with your spirituality, or growing with something, because there's a feeling of being firm with this and disciplined, but not rushing, you know, not taking huge risks, moving forward, because you've had all this growth here and you're ready to go on the next step. So that's how I read this card as well. And it's interesting because this is more like a boat to me rather than a chariot with wheels. So for me, it appears to be, you know, with boats emotionally. So it could be an emotional journey that you're on currently. So that's how I'm reading that card today. Tomorrow it might be different. Another Kickstarter one is the Chromatic Faiths Tarot. This was the deck that I utilised as well while I was in lockdown. I did find the only thing that I have with this deck that's wrong, or that it's not wrong, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I just find the writing here is so hard for me to read. So it's so itsy bitsy. So here you've got her, she's very proud, you know, very, very, very proud. So the artist here spoke about they have ADD and they find it really hard to stay focused and managed, and they really wanted to, hopefully this deck will help others. But she's in charge here. You know, she's in charge. You've got this guy here, he's looking at what is this guy up to, you know. So we've got to be careful again that we're not too worried about what other people are doing, because it will take us off course. Because if you allow this guy to be in control more than this guy, of course you might end up in circles. So that's where I read from this deck here. I do feel like there's some speed in this, you know, there's definitely some speed with this flagging, but it's a beautiful card, isn't it? I hope you can see that clearly. So there's a lot of discipline in this card, because you've got to be disciplined that bad habits or things that, or giving up, doesn't overtake this ride or in this journey, because you'll find yourself back where you started again in a big circle. Moving on, again, a new one. I bought all of these ones probably at the same time. Look how happy she is. It says here, success that comes from dedication and self-discipline, celebrating your accomplishments, being in the spotlight. The Chariot. So it's really about victory here, because she's happy with herself, you know, she's happy. We look at these dragonflies. The dragonflies can maneuver any way they wish, you know, like, and they're not destructive. You know, to me, it means that they're light, you know, they're delicate. So they're happy. Everyone's happy in this card. So to me, it's like a party, you know, like you're happy with your accomplishment. To me, it feels like you're on your way again. You know, you've got this, so it could be a progressive goal that you're working towards because you've got this part of the goal now, and now you're happy to work towards the next step of the goal. You're actually seeing what's in the future. You know, you can work towards things. Things have blossomed, and now you're ready to pollinate the next stage, so to speak. And then we have the Guardian Angel. This is the original Guardian Angel Tarot, and believe it or not, this is one of my favorite cards of the deck. I just love it. You know, I'm not a great fan of a lot of imagery of this deck, but I might change my mind if I'm continue to look at my cards in this way. But you sort of see this little boy, and you know that these geese probably blocked his path, but yet he's still going, you know, so he's made a way through. He's made his way forward. You know, he hasn't allowed these to be distraction or to stop him or prevent him, you know. And we've got somebody looking at him. So it's a bit like learning a new skill perhaps, or him being more confident now and growing, leaving others behind. Or again, she may be looking up to him that he's, you know, going forward, and he's made it work for him because he can't touch the pedals. So he's making this goal work for him in a way that is successful. So, you know, it's a bit like him learning to ride a bike, and now he can do it, and he's happy with doing it, and he's propelling himself forward. Now, a deck that you can see, I've just done the review of this deck here. The artist is beautiful. It's a bike. You know, we've got 2 bikes here. We haven't had many bikes here, most of them being chariots. So this is really about, you know, a fork in the road. So which decision are you going to make? You're still going to get there in the end, but maybe one might be harder than the others. You know, this is where this is, and it's quite interesting. You've got the black and white sphinxes here. I'm just noticing this on the bike as well. So he's sort of stopped here. And again, I really like the way that the second video that I watched about this topic, she spoke about she's not a big fan of passive cards, and it really made me think of this deck, that it puts you in the seat of this. So it's really about which decision do you want to make, and I really found that really interesting. I've never thought of my cards in this way. So this is what I love about watching all these, being open to this world of VRs and people discussing decks and whatnot. It really made me think about, wow, this deck. And I'm like, wow, do I like passive decks? I don't know yet. So I just found this really interesting. So this is about a fork in the road and getting started, you know, and once you're on this path, you can't go backwards. You have to continue going forwards because it's quite thin and narrow. So that's another point that I want to make. And we've got a few more left. We've got 2 more left. The Radiant Wilds is just a new deck that I've recently purchased. I did pull this in a reading, so I do remember about this, but it's really about you haven't got the reins here. You know, you've got these sphinxes. It's interesting that it's the sphinxes again, you know, like you've got these sphinxes here. So it's about looking about the beauty around you, and again, everything's sort of balanced here, but we've got this sun again. To me, the sun looks like it's going up, you know, it's burning, so you're on your way. So it's really about, this is the road that you're on. This is the chariot. So you're making things work for yourself. You know, you've got the tools within you, you know. I do feel like too, it's like you're out of harm's way. I don't know why, but I just feel like you've moved in a way that it's not destructive for you anymore. That's how I'm reading this card today. I just feel like you're out of harm's way. You know, you're moving forward in a way that suits you, you know. You may have taken a breather here. Like this could have been your house of peace here that's kept you confined for a while, but now you're ready to break free. And lastly, this is my only deck by Paulina Cassidy. I've had this deck for years. I bought it because I liked the imagery of it, but again, I probably got suckered into it with everybody talking about it on social media, and I hope that doesn't happen again. So I'm trying to be so careful with my purchases. But this is a rhinoceros. He's the chariot, you know, like he's strong. And again, we've got him going uphill, you know, like uphill. He's sort of like got the determination to keep going, even though he's big here and not giving up. And I'm sure he's panted and it's taken him a while, but it's about he's nearly here. And you know, if this is a branch on the tree, which could be as well with this, he's sort of still willing to take this risk. I mean, the branch may break, but he's still willing to go forward. And I feel like it's really an action card here. You know, it's an action card. And he's quite proud of himself too. So that is all the cards that I wanted to read about the 7. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I will put all the links in the description box for all the cards that I've used. I'm really enjoying these VRs. I think, as I said, this is the second one that I've done. Please check if you haven't blocked me, because my last name was a bit... see, I've wrote on the back here. My last name was a bit... I don't know, trolley, but I really enjoy it. So please get behind this. I really love to hear about how people interpret their cards, what they get from their cards intuitively. And I really hope now that I've done this that I'm seeing, or I'm going to see a lot more of the Chariot card in readings, so I can really see what I get from this card on a deeper level. But thank you everybody for commenting. Please comment, like and subscribe if you'd like me to do more of these, or if you want me to watch your video, please let me know that you've done one. Thank you.